Hi, Logan, it's me, Eddie, and this is part 2 of where I talk about the products that I use the most in my makeup kit, my MUA kit for 2024. So in this one, we're gonna be talking about blush, eyeshadow, lip. In the first part, I talked about skincare and base makeup. So if you wanna watch that, it's the one before this. For blush, to be honest, there's many different blushes that I use and I really enjoyed, but the ones that stood out to me the most I wanted to talk to you guys about is AOU, the Glowy Cream blushes. They have 8 shades and you can actually stack them up. And these are from the brand AOU, which we love, you know, Espa's makeup artist, blah, blah, blah. It's her brand. If you're a soft autumn or you just like warm colors that are more on the, you know, soft, natural side, rosy cheeks is great. Also, if you're cool tone but you want a more warm look, this is fantastic. Kind of in this similar line, number 4, Mauve Cheeks is very similar, but it's more on the cool tone side because it's mauve. You can see the difference. If you're into that really bright pop of color on the cheek, number 1, Chudu Cheeks is cute, and number 2, Pinky Cheeks. These are great for the cool tone girlies. And for the warm tone girlies that want, again, a pop of color, 6, Tangerine Cheeks, and number 8, Sunny Cheeks are great, as you can see. And then colors kind of between the soft and kind of the bright are these 2. Number 3, Cherry Blossom, and number 7, Pumpkin Cheeks. Great sort of like middle of the road, not too bright, but also not too muted. And the great thing about these is that they're quite sheer, but you can build them up to have more color to them. Love these, especially for if you have drier skin. And they also do have a matte version, these soft cream blushes, which came out more recently. They have 6 shades of this. Again, they kind of have warm and cool shades. The cool shades are the first 3. I love number 1, Hearty Cheeks. I think Espa's Winter uses this one a lot. It's a great cool neutral pink. It's not too bright. I love using this one for myself. If you have fair to light skin and you have a lot of red in your cheeks, the number 3, Lavender Cheeks is going to be great because it will help. The purple will mix with the red in your cheeks and give you a very natural pink. Because people with a lot of redness, like rosacea and stuff, a lot of cheek products can turn very orange on them, and that one helps counteract that. And of course, if you like really bright cheeks, 2, Peony Cheeks is great. And then if you're more warm toned, number 4, Kumquat Cheeks is great for if you're spring. If you want a really bright poppy cheek, the number 5, Smiley Cheeks is fantastic. And then my personal favorite from all of them, which I'm so sad because I fucking broke it. I broke the mirror. Number 6, Lukewarm Cheeks. This is such a beautiful shade. This is not too warm and it's not too cool either. It's a very good down the middle. The other sort of neutral shade you can see has more pink. So this one is more brownie, like a brownie nude. That's why I use this like all the fucking time. Very creamy, but it has more of a velvety finish, and just like the glowy one, you can build this up to be a little bit more of a stronger color. And then in terms of powder blushes, the 2 palettes I use the most are these 2 Dasique ones. Number 2, Cool Blending is gonna be your best friend if you are a winter or you're a summer that has a lot of red. In general, if you're cool tone, you have a lot of red in your cheeks because just like I said, those purpley, bluey lavender tones are gonna really help with the redness in your skin. And of course for winters, because like I've said a few times, winters look great with, you know, more makeup on the eyes and lips rather than the cheeks. Winters don't look that great in like a lot of heavy blush because it looks very distracting. It looks a little bit grandma-ish. So these are great for adding just a whisper of color on the cheeks. Or I'll use like one of these AOU blushes and then I'll put this right on top to kind of give this sort of like blurry, cloudy look, and it will make the blush last longer because it's the cream and then the powder, right? Now for if you're warm toned, number 9, Almond Vanilla. Obviously it's like a warm version of that, but what I find myself also using this a lot for is if someone has really stubborn dark circles where you do the correcting, you do the concealer and all that, but you still have a little bit of blueness under the eyes left over, even if they're cool toned, I'll do their blush or whatever, but I'll add a little bit of these warmer peachy shades just right here to help lift up any leftover blue under the eyes from the dark circles, and I find it's very effective for that. So again, I'm not trying to completely obliterate dark circles because I do kind of like the look of a little bit of color in the eyes, but if I'm really trying to, you know, brighten under the eye, I'll use something like this. And I prefer that over just using a really whitish concealer or something under the eyes, and I find myself using this all the time as well for that very reason. Okay, let's talk about eyeshadow now. And the palettes I find myself gravitating towards the most, CLIO Pro Eye Palette Air in Mute Library number 3, and you can see why I use this a lot. It's just a lot of really fantastic muted tones. I think the #1 personal color I get the most is deep winter or deep autumn. So they're gonna look good in these muted tones on the eyes. The one in second place would probably be like a light summer or any light seasons. And so this palette would look a little bit too muted and gray on them. So I would use this one, Lavender Staff #7. Much more lighter. These palettes in particular are a little bit different from their other formulas that they're supposed to, like the name, they're Air, Pro Eye Palette Air, so it's supposed to be a little bit more like blurring almost on the eye, which I don't really care for that. I just want to make sure the color's right, and I find myself using these the most.
Also, shout out to this Lilybyred palette. This one I used super often as well on winters. I've also found myself using these 2-day chic palettes quite often as well lately.
Another palette, again, like I said, I get a lot of deep winters. This palette from JOOCYEE, it was a limited edition, but I find it's still available on some sites. As you can see, lots of grayish muted tones. So on a lot of deep winters or dark winters, a lot of K-beauty colors, whether it's eyeshadow, whether it's like lip colors, blushes, look very red. And that can be a look too, but I've noticed over time that the girlies are kind of like, yes, I'll do the personal color and I'll use the colors for their makeup based on that, but I've noticed based off their reactions or the fact that they don't do a lot of makeup on the daily basis, if certain colors are too red, they feel a little bit like, ugh. I find myself using a lot of very muted tones in my makeup, unless I'm doing like idol makeup or something, right? But in terms of everyday daily, colors like this, in this, I tend to be using a lot. Oh, another one that I love to use for cool tones is this one, Kaleidos palette in Venus Trap. I'm just using this all the fucking time, bruh. I love her. And also that glitter, fucking amazing. Are you serious? Love her. I used it recently on foot too even, and even though she has a deeper skin tone, it still looks fantastic on her. If you have a deep skin tone, as long as you do a bit of the color correcting and you do highlighting in your face, a lot of colors you would think would be a bit too ashy actually look quite pretty on deeper skin, I've noticed. Especially if you're going for that sort of like wintry ice princess look. The only time that rule doesn't apply and you do need more pigment and like color in your makeup would be if you're a warm tone deep skin. For warm tones, I don't get that many warm tones to be honest. If I do, they tend to be either soft autumns or deep autumns. If it was a true autumn, a bit of red in the eyeshadows is fine, but I don't get a lot of true autumn. And so this palette from Kaleidos, I think it's called Cold Brew, very beautiful browns, but they're very neutral. So they're not gonna show up so red on the eye. So these are great for just adding shading around the eye. Autumns look great and very smoky, blended, no harsh lines, basically softer looks, but deep soft looks. And so this is perfect for that. These colors look like this, right? But they're actually a lot more pigmented when you put it on the skin. And so I love using this for blending out eyeliner. Another palette I love that's in sort of similar vein, but a little bit more of like a reddish tone to it. If I do want more red in their makeup, then I'll use this Flower Nose palette in #1 Nutcracker. And you can see how there's just more like yellow, orange, red to it. So if I feel like if I put an eyeshadow on them and I notice it's looking too reddish, orangish, I'll use this one. But if I feel like it's looking a little bit too muted, then I'll go use this one. Now on the rare occasion I get a spring, because every now and then I'll get springs, which are warm tone girls that look good in lighter, brighter warm tones. I'll use this palette from Dasique in #3 Spring Coral. And as you can see, cute spring colors. When I first saw these palettes in all of them, I kind of made fun of them because like, why do you need this many eyeshadow colors when a lot of them, honestly, these colors right here, they all pretty much look the same on the eye. But it's very small and compact and tiny, so it's great for makeup artists. Of course, this is Edward Avila, right? This is Edward Avila's channel, so we gotta talk about glitter. Because most of these palettes will have a glitter in there, so I'll probably just use that one. But one I love adding, especially for cool tone girls, is this JOOCYEE one. This is like the most beautiful fucking, oh my God. You just like tap your finger and like lightly put it on the eye, you can get just the shimmer and glitter. But if you put it on full color, it's like this gray with like a purple undertone to it. But this is just the most beautiful fucking glitter I've ever seen in my life. Even if it's not like idol makeup, I'm still using it because it's so pretty. The reactions are always like a look of shock and like wonder. Also, I apologize if my skin is looking really crusty. It's because I got a hair removal laser on my face recently and it's really causing my skin to peel. So hopefully that's not too distracting. If I'm doing like more idol makeup where I want like that really, really chunky, like big, thick glitter, these ones from, I think it's called Cute Rumor. I have two, but I use this one the most. I use it all the time. You can see how there's a lot of like the thick glitters in there. What I'll often do is I'll just take a brush and just like pick off the really big glitters. I'll use like a finer glitter first and then I'll use this for like pointy.
Also, because I do so many cool toned eye looks, I love the warmth that the glitters in this particular shade give. It creates a nice contrast.
If I want something really sparkly, but I don't want like a thick glitter like that, one that's more recent, but I've been using a lot lately, is the Glow Glass Glitter in Unknown and Pleasures. Unknown is more cool tone, and Pleasures is more warm tone. It's very similar to that one, but the glitters are not as big, so I love just using it like right here on the Aegyosal if I want, again, more an idly look. I like that the applicator is really like this really pointed tip, so I can just, and it sticks really well to the skin, so love these. Eyeshadow primer as well, it's still the same, my favorite, the Smashbox 24-hour primer. If you have very oily lids and you have very deep eyes where the crease is really strong, I really recommend this one. It really holds eyeshadow and it creates like this like thick mask on your eyelids basically where oil does not come through. So that one is my favorite. And since we're talking about eyes, I figured I'd just talk about eyebrows as well. I like to use powder and I like to use pencil. For powder, it's still the Skin Food Choco eyebrow powder, whatever. I took them out of the case and put them in here. They have like a warm palette and like a cool tone palette, and those are pretty much the only ones I need. I've never found myself needing any other color, to be honest. To be honest, they're just like eyeshadows, but they're a lot softer. They're not as pigmented as eyeshadows, so I'm just always using this one. If you watch my Get Ready With Me videos, I'm using these all the fucking time, these fucking AliExpress pencils. When I'm doing other people's makeup, I always have to look at what type of eyebrows they have and what we're trying to fix with the eyebrows. It's either they're missing a lot of hair, and so I need to fill in bigger gaps and sections of the eyebrow, which is what I would normally use this for. But if I'm really just trying to create hair, I'm using these. Because literally when you sharpen these, you get like a literal line. For Aegyosal, I use many different things for Aegyosal, but my top two that I use probably the most is this Twinkle Pop Sparkling Eye Stick in the shade Ballet Pink. I always tell people when I'm teaching them how to do Aegyosal, there's many different ways to do Aegyosal, but if you watch a lot of Korean makeup artists, they'll be doing like the concealing, the eyeshadow, the highlighting. But if you want to just be quick about your Aegyosal and you just want one step, this is great. This is from Daiso, and I believe CLIO made this brand, Twinkle Pop, and it's basically an eyeshadow stick. You can conceal and you can highlight at the exact same time. So it's very creamy, but it sets, like, it really sets. Like, it does not go anywhere. If I'm doing warm tone makeup, I use this Banilico one in number 3, Champagne Rosy, which is pretty much the same thing, just warm toned. It's not too warm tone, it's like a neutral champagne. For eyeliner, these are the ones I used the most this year, but I'm gonna change it probably because they dried out on me already. This is the Inglot AMC eyeliner gel. These are the 3 that I have. I have it in black. Oh, actually, it's not called black. The number is 77. I don't know why it's 77, but I also have 90, which is just a really deep neutral brown. It's not too red. And then I have number 69, which is also brown, but it's like a light grayish brown. The one I use the most is number 90, the neutral deep brown, because it's such a deep brown that it could end up looking black on some people's eyes. And the black, I rarely use it. If I have someone that's very light or fair skinned, I'll use 69 because the other one's just too much. So I actually depotted a little bit of each one into another eyeliner gel pot. And so I was using that, but when I went to go use these ones, they already dried up on me, even though I didn't really open them. So that's a little bit disappointing because these aren't exactly the cheapest. They're like 23 bucks, but I don't want to keep spending on that. So I'm trying out other eyeliners and stuff, but I do recommend these. Now to blend out the eyeliner, because I don't like using just straight up eyeliner by itself, I always blend it out with eyeshadow. I'll usually just use whatever deep eyeshadow colors in these eyeshadow palettes, but these single shadows I reach for very often. It's these Holika single shadows. This one I'll use often for warm tones. This one I'll use often for cool tones. And this one's kind of like a good neutral, it's like an in-between. So that one, it's a good, general purpose eyeshadow color. But these are really great for just blending out eyeliner or even just drawing on your eyeliner with these. On occasion, there's some people where I feel like they don't really need eyeliner. So I'll just use like an eyeshadow to create some kind of like eyeliner vibe out here, but sometimes it rubs up too quickly. So in that case, I actually use the So Natural Magic Sealer. Their setting mist is very popular and well known, but I don't know if a lot of people know about this. She had her moment on social media when Miss Kwon Eun-bi, who's well known for her water bomb performances, they actually use this on her because you can use it on your eyeliner, your eyebrows, on your eyelashes after you do mascara. And it creates like basically a seal, right? Make it waterproof, make it long lasting. This is great if you'd like to do your eyeliner with eyeshadow, but you find that it's like rubbing off too quickly. And then mascara. To be honest, most K-beauty mascaras, even Japanese mascaras are fantastic. So all pretty much the same to me, but for me, the ones that stood out the most are these AOU ones. There's 4 of them because there's 2 black and 2 brown, and each one is divided into a long formula and a volume formula. But the key takeaway is that these brushes are fucking tiny, bruh. Tiny. They're so good for really reaching into every little nook and cranny. I find this especially great for if you have a lot of eyelashes. Again, there's a lot of fantastic mascaras in the American drugstore, but a lot of them can get very clumpy just because the wands are quite thick. And these, the wands are very tiny, so it's great for coating each individual lash without making it look clumpy and stuck together. And of course, they're an Asian mascara, so they're very long wearing. Okay, y'all, we're at the final stretch. This is all my most used lip products through 2024. Of course, we cannot talk about lip products without talking about Miss ALU. This has been like the top thing for me this whole year. I'm always using these on people just cause, especially from like a makeup artist perspective, it's easy to just scoop them out and apply them, which is great for being MUA, but kind of annoying if you're just using it by yourself. If I'm really lazy and I'm using my own, I'll just stick my finger in and use it like almost like a lip balm, because that's exactly what it is. It's the ALU Tinty, not the Tinty, the Glowy Tint Balm. And there's a variety of shades, but the ones I use the most, this one came out much later, but this is number 9 BB Balm. Girl, this is like my favorite. This is the one I use on clients. It's a really beautiful, like natural coral shade. And even for me, even though I'm a soft summer, I really like the way it looks on my lips. I think it would help if I swatched it. You can see it says real, oh my God, look at that glow. Because of the formula, it really helps smooth out the lips, and it really gives you that like tanguru, like Doyen sort of lip, I guess. Also Mulberry Balm, which I think is the most famous, to be honest, because it's this beautiful mauve shade. Obviously perfect if you're cool toned. But if you're cool toned, but you like more pink rather than mauve, number 7 Bubble Balm I use a lot as well. So you can see why I use these two a lot. And they do have the floofy matte balms, the Pulsar Balm. Again, variety of shades, but the ones I use the most, especially during the initial launch, is number 4 Cold Balm. And one I find useful, so pretty on like everyone, is number 7 Comfy Balm, because it's this really beautiful, neutral, almost like rosy shade. Oh my God. Now the floofy matte balm has, it's just like the the Fui, the pudding pot. Very similar texture, but I think because the colors in this lineup are more curated, I'm finding these much easier to just, I'll know what color's which. Whereas the free ones, because there's just so many, I did depot all of them into different lipstick cases and I divided them based on type of color. But in the end, I still am reaching for these the most just because like, okay, this person's cool toned and they'll look good in this type of cool color. So I can easily just reach for this one. Now I know you guys know, I like to think that I knew about these before they blew up on social media, but the H tint, the gray one, of course, a must have in my kit because it's a grayish lip tint that helps even out your lip tone. I just get a lot of people that will have fair or light skin and really red lips. Like I said, a lot of K-beauty colors can be just so red. And so this helps mute it down a bit if I use it first. But actually one that I use a lot, more so than I expected, just because it suits so many different types of people, whether they're summers or winters. Number 2, Lively. And it's pretty much the same thing, but it's a pink version. And this just looks good on like everybody, I've noticed. Because again, it's that pink shade, but it's not like a pink. It's like a very soft pink. And so, because I get so many light to fair skin cool tone girls, this works on like everybody. In a similar vein in terms of formula is the MAC Powder Kiss liquid lip colors. Girl, I use these a lot as well. More the merrier, which I use on like all the cool tone girls. It's a beautiful sort of like deep rosy shade. Depending on how much I put, you can get a lighter color. It's a generally very good medium tone rose shade, because rose can mean a lot of different things, but this one is definitely leaning into the more purple side. Pink Roses is another beautiful rosy shade. This one's like a true rose color. You see what I mean? Has more of that reddish brown tone to it, but it's still in the family of rose, as well as Over the Tone. This one I use a lot on warm tones because it just looks good on like all warm tones without looking too red and not looking too muted. Because sometimes if it's too muted, it looks a little bit like dead. That's what that looks like. And if you put it on very lightly, like a very thin layer, you can actually use it almost like as a base lip color. Now, like I've been saying throughout this whole video, I get a lot of deep winter or deep autumn, but for deep autumns, I did want to show you this. If you look up like K-beauty lip colors for deep autumns, a lot of the colors will look like this. This is the Roman Fudge, Blur Fudge tint, La Dude, Radwood, right there, as well as the Zero Velvet tint in Villain Vest. Actually, this one is often recommended to deep winters. But you see how red that shit is? Now, It is a beautiful color. Like, it will look great. If you're a deep winter, it will look good. But the thing is, a lot of people that come to me are people that don't wear too much makeup that often. And so they're not used to colors like this. And so they're very intimidated by these colors because they're very deep, right? Yes, you can look pretty, but sometimes they, you know, work at an office or work at school. And so they don't want to, like, you know, be too in their face. And so for those situations, these are like my favorite. For warm tones, like deep autumns, these Kaleidos Cloud Lip Clays. This is the shade Mahogany, and this is the shade Bloodstone. Do you see how much more muted these are compared to these? For a lot of deep autumns, if I want to give them that deep lip color without it looking too much, I'll put something like this MAC one first as a base, and then I'll put something like this in the center to give that depth without it looking, like I said, too red.
As for my cool tones, I'll often do the same thing, but with these two shades from Fui.
If I have a deep winter though, I actually have two. These are actually lip masks. This is from Code Glow Color Lip Sarin. I have two shades, Plum Dive number 6. And the packaging looks like you have to twist it, and the color comes out. It's kind of weird, but it looks very like straight up purple. But once you put it on the lips and let it settle, just kind of like develops in this really natural, like it's like a deep cool color, but it doesn't look too much because it's very sheer. If it's looking a little bit too like, oh, I jumped into a pool of cold water and I want something more reddish, then I'll use number 3, Rusty Red. It doesn't look that deep here, but on the lips, it definitely gives more like a sort of like rusty red color, but it doesn't look too orange. It doesn't look too like auntie red. It just sucks because I think these aren't that easy to get, to be honest, because I don't even think they're available at Olive Young. I had to buy this on Coupang. If I get someone that's like a deep winter or like a winter, but they don't want like color necessarily on their lips, but they want something, my two go-to sort of like nudes would be this one from Girl Cult, a Sea Beauty brand. It's like this brownish nude tone, but has a bit of pink to it, so it doesn't look like, because usually when you think of nude, you think like tan or like camel shades, but this is a great nude color for cool tones. And another one is from Kaleidos. This is Pink Himalayan, which is very similar vibe, a little bit deeper, but I actually like to use it as like a base shade as well. So, ooh. For my, I could talk about winters, but I do get springs occasionally. The ones I love for springs are this Amuse one, Du Poksunga. Dew Peach. It's actually a really great neutral pink. Because when I first saw that, I was like, oh, that might be good for warm tones. It is better for warm tones, but if you're cool toned, but want a little bit of a warm color on the lips, this is a great color. One I love to use on my light springs is this Dasique one in Love Coral. In general, springs look really great in juicy lips, and so I'm always using these tints on them. Beautiful. I also really love these free glosses, and there's a variety of the shades, but these ones I use the most because sort of similar to the Amuse one, this is like a very neutral coral. Let me see right here. This is the 30% one, and this is the 70% one. The difference is that the 30% one is more glossy than color, while the 70% has more pigment to it, so you get more of like a color to it. But you can see all 4 of them are very similar vein. That pinky coral vibe. Oh, one that I forgot to mention, which is a gloss. This is definitely for cool tones. Kaleidos Untamed Glow Glossy Lip Glaze in the shade Last Smoke. This is the one I used on Fatu. It's wildly different from the 4 I just swatched. It's like a very muted, smoky shade. And so this is great for if you have a cool tone, deeper skin tone, and you want a base color, or like if for me, I'm a soft summer, right? This gives me a bit of color, but stays within the realm of cool tone and soft. And it does give a little bit of, because it's like sort of a grayish purple shade, it gives a little bit of grungy vibes to it, so I really love the shade on a variety of cool tone girls. Okay guys, last but definitely not least is lip liners. If there's one thing I gotta talk about, it's the lip liners, because they have really changed the way I've been doing lip makeup. The one I use the most is these AOU lip pencils, the blending lip pencils. In K-Beauty, lip liners are used to blend the lip color into the skin tone, so it gives you that really soft sort of look. The one I use the most actually is number 3, Cool. Because in the West, when they're using lip liners, a lot of them are these deep brown colors. But in Korea, they're a lot more close to the natural lip color, basically. This one, again, like I get so many cool tones. This is the one I use the most. But if I have someone that's more neutral to warm tone, I'll use Over a lot. That one. Actually, another color I use often is Cement, which I think they're changing the name to Iron. Kind of like the H gray lip tint. This one is just very gray. But I love using this almost as like an additional color for blending. So I'll use one of these two first, and then I'll use this one to really add volume like here, in here to kind of create shape to the lips. These grayish tones actually look quite natural on me, surprisingly. So I'll use this a lot on myself as well. I think the product though that really kicked off the lip pencil craze in Korea is these hard % Dote on Mood lip pencils. And there's so many different colors, but the one I'm using the most is of course the cool tone one. 8 Cloudy Mauve I use a lot. These ones are a little bit more creamy, and the pencil itself is actually a lot chubbier. So good for if you're not necessarily looking for like precision, you just want something to blend the edge of your lip. But you can see based off these tones what I'm talking about when it comes to lip pencils within the context of K-beauty. They're just meant to kind of remove that harsh lip line that you can get when you use certain colors. So even if you're wearing a lip color that's not necessarily your best color and it feels like it's stuck on your face, but you really like the color, if you just use a lip pencil like this, it will help it look a lot more in synergy with your face because you're blending that edge of your lip, right? There it is. Those are my top used products for this video, the eyeshadow, blush, and lip colors. In the last video, the skincare and foundation. So if you didn't see that, go watch that one. I love the fact that I'm able to do other people's makeup now because, to be honest, one, it's just my face, right? And so I kind of tend to do the same makeup. And because, I know I keep talking about, I'm a soft-summer, but because of that, I'm not really able to do a variety of different looks without it looking weird on me, just because of my particular skin tone and my features are so soft and my eye shape, to be honest. And so I can't do that many different looks. And so to be able to do makeup on other people has just been so fulfilling spiritually and just mentally. So it makes me so excited for the upcoming years in terms of doing other people's makeup. That was it for 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in 2025. Hello. I'll see you around. Bye.